He's here because I've been told that he had a 40-1 winner at York this week, so I'm surprised you're not in the Bahamas, John.
Yeah, do you think I might have retired to the Costa Brava? Or indeed the Bahamas?
On your 50p each way.
Yes, not yet. That will have to wait, Mark. Yes. But thank you very much. This is the unmistakable sound of the Emirates Stadium for what is the start of a brand new Premier League season here at this home of Arsenal, where almost everyone is bedecked in red and white. Andy Reid is sitting alongside me, Republic of Ireland international Premier League midfielder, and the atmosphere, Andy, has been truly buoyant, hasn't it, over the course of the past half hour since Eberechi Eze's signing was announced. Then he was paraded on the pitch. It is very, very optimistic.
Yeah, I mean, incredible, really. It's a real party atmosphere. Incredible how much the fans are kind of getting behind, how excited they are to have Eze on board, and just hope that the game now can live up to all the pre-match hype.
Yes, well, they also have Victor Gyökeres making his competitive home debut. The other really big money signing of the summer. There have been plenty of them for Arsenal. And Noni Madueke as well, making his first start and his home debut in the Premier League for Arsenal, over on the left-hand side. So the Arsenal team, Raya in goal. At the back, Timber coming in for the injured Ben White. And Saliba and Gabriel Calafiori continues as the Arsenal left back after scoring the goal at Old Trafford last Sunday afternoon that saw them register the opening victory. Then in midfield, this three of Zubimendi, Odegaard and Rice. Saka on the right, Madueke on the left, Gyökeres through the middle. And Leeds, after their opening win on Monday night against Everton at Elland Road, just the one change for them. Ampadu is out injured, so missing from the central midfield. Here's Madueke into the action for the first time, pulling the ball down, playing it into the near post, but goalkeeper Lucas Perry, the Leeds goalkeeper, can fall forwards and grab that ball into his chest. So he's the goalkeeper for Leeds. Back four of Bogle, Rodon, Struijk and Goodmanson. Struijk the captain. Midfield, Gruev with Tanaka and Stack, and then James and Gnonto in the wide areas, and Pirro through the middle. And Leeds' most recent signing this week, Noah Okafor, who was brought in for around about £18 million from Milan, did play on loan for Napoli as well last season. Noah Okafor is among the substitutes. There's no Dominic Calvert-Lewin yet, as Arsenal, Declan Rice has to stretch for that. Tanaka's trying to win it back. In fact, Calafiori's taken it away from him as Arsenal attack towards the clock end. Here's Madueke again, receiving it from Calafiori. Madueke running at Bogle, still going. Calafiori on the overlap, plays it in, and Rodon is able to get just lift up his right foot and bring that down, play it away out towards the far side, and Leeds United all in blue, then win a throw-in. Tanaka winning it off Zubimendi on the halfway line. I think after the build-up that we had, I'm not surprised it started at high pace.
Yeah, I think my question was, we've seen Madueke play a lot off the right-hand side. Obviously, we're Saka in that position for Arsenal. What is he going to be like on the left-hand side? And I think we probably just got our answer in the first couple of minutes. He's made two brilliant runs, got one cross in, and slipped Calafiori in there to get across just a second ago. So he's made a really good start to the game. He looks very, very dangerous on that left-hand side.
Yeah, and I expect, Andy, that we'll see Madueke on that side and on the right-hand side when they want to, and when they're able to give Bukayo Saka a rest. You know, it's more options, certainly with Eze coming in as well.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you look at that forward line and it's formidable. The signings that they've made, it's really creative. There's a lot more kind of physical presence there with Gyökeres up top, so it might give them a little bit more flexibility in how they want to play in them tight games. When, you know, they can't pass their way through a low block, they have got a bit more physical presence up there as well. So really, really good attacking options for Arsenal now.
Yeah, Arsenal 0, Leeds United 0. Declan Rice now winning the ball back in the centre circle. Rice surging forward with it, then gives it to Madueke. Madueke angles it back to Odegaard, who's going to try a shot from 22, 23 yards out, that is blocked on the edge of the Leeds United penalty area. Then Tanaka is put under pressure. Referee Jared Gillett says that was a clean challenge. Won back by Odegaard. Sort of Odegaard working together there to win it back. And then back it goes towards the halfway line, where Calafiori is going to tap it to Zubimendi. who's in the centre circle. So Zubimendi also making his competitive home debut, another of their expensive recruits. So I think the fee for Eberechi Eze, we're led to believe it's somewhere between 60 and 70 million pounds. Gyökeres round about 64 million pounds. Zubimendi 55-ish million pounds. Madueke 52 million pounds. There's also been Mosquera, Christian Norgard, who's not involved yet. He's got a little problem, and goalkeeper Kepa Arrizabalaga for the measly sum of 5 million. So basically, Andy, that means that Arsenal are pushing up towards 250 million pounds spent this summer.
Yeah, I think at times over the last few years there's probably been that question mark about have Arsenal spent money in the right way, have they spent enough of it, and I think what we find this summer is that they've definitely done that.
Arsenal, Zubimendi winning it back. He's been caught as well, but Saka trying to find a position. Zubimendi back on his feet, and then bowled over as the challenge came in on him from Gudmundsson, the Leeds United left back, and that's a free kick, middle of the half, just slightly right of centre. Free kick for Arsenal, though. Set piece situation.
Yeah, we'll see. We know how dangerous Arsenal have been from set pieces over the years. We've seen it again last week against Man United. See Odegaard coming over here. He'll drift this in with his left foot. I would imagine aiming somewhere towards that back post where you've got real good physical presence in that Arsenal forward line.
Sitting up high in the Emirates Stadium for this one, looking down from just to the right of the halfway line. Arsenal playing from left to right towards the clock end, and Declan Rice actually plays this free kick out to the right. Saka was there in the Leeds left back position, and then Odegaard back centrally to Saliba, then back to Odegaard. Blonde hair just bobbing. A dry afternoon but overcast in North London. Ball in towards the edge of the penalty area, and that is headed away to comparative safety by Leeds United. Arsenal have started strongly. The Emirates Stadium's first match of the new Premier League season. Last season's Premier League runners-up, Arsenal, versus the winners of the Championship last season, Leeds United, back in the top flight after 2 seasons away, and already with a win under their belt. Burnley also getting their first win. So the 3 promoted sides now have all won a match. Ball back to the edge of the penalty area. Odegaard shoots, but it's maybe a foot and a half wide of Perry's left post as he dived down, but behind for a goal kick.
Yeah, well worked from Arsenal. That ball out, we've seen the combination so many times. Ball out wide to Saka, he cuts back inside, gets the ball to Odegaard on his left foot. You'd probably expect him to do a little bit better and hit the target. We've heard Daniel Farke talking about Leeds wanting to go after Arsenal and maybe press them when they can, and it's kind of easier said than done. They've been pinned back and they've been pretty much in a low block. They haven't really been able to retain any possession. It's been so difficult for them to get their foot on the ball and to try and get 3 or 4 passes in. It's just been really dominant from Arsenal in this first 7 or 8 minutes.
Yeah, they're all over the Leeds back line as Strauch played it across the back line to his goalkeeper Perry, who's cleared it away. Then Madueke was caught by Bogle. He was away from him there. He was into the penalty area with another couple of strides. That's a yellow card for Bogle, an early yellow card for the Leeds United right back, who's got to play against Madueke, who on his first start here for Arsenal at the Emirates has made a flying start.
Yeah, but Bogle has kept the ball in there, but he couldn't control it, and it went to Madueke. He knew that Madueke was getting into the box, and he's tackling from behind. That's not what you want of it against a player like Madueke, who has that pace and he will run at you 1v1. You don't want to be booked so early in the game.
No, Arsenal are all over Leeds United in the early stages of this match. Leeds United, who, when they have been playing Arsenal in recent times, have lost their last 6 matches, not won in the last 14 when Leeds have played Arsenal. And it's a free kick near the left corner of the box as Arsenal play. Odegaard is left to it by Declan Rice, so it's going to be a left-footed outswinger. Arsenal players move all across the penalty area, and then poor delivery actually from Odegaard, easily cleared away by Bogle at the near post.
Yeah, you always want to miss that first man. If you can miss that first man, you've got an opportunity, you've got your men in there, but unfortunately for Odegaard there, he couldn't miss it. It was a poor pass, poor cross from him.
That's Andy Reid. This is Arsenal 0, Leeds United 0. 10 minutes played here. Leeds United under siege really in these opening period of this match as a long pass from Raya. That's a good pass as well to Saka, who takes it down, and he's running at Goodmanson, and he crosses it in to the far side of the penalty area. Calafiori takes it down, he's challenged and goes down, challenged by Daniel James. No penalty, right decision I think. Rice plays it in, Saka on the stretch, couldn't get there, falling after it, but the ball was already through and behind for a goal kick.
He looked like a winger going to head that ball there. He lost his balance. He's not known for that, but what he is known for, and you see the difficulty of coming up against somebody of Saka's quality. He can go inside and he can go outside, and Goodmanson's seen that. He's wanting to show him on the outside on his right foot, but he's got no problem going on his right foot, and he put in a brilliant cross as well.
Yeah, Bukayo Saka needed to be Peter Crouch there to head that in. That Leeds United barely got out of their own half in these opening stages. Stack, who caught the eye, Goodmanson at left back, as well as Leeds do play it forward to Gnonto. Just the one change from Monday night against Everton. And incidentally, don't miss that tomorrow. We will be there, 5 Live Sport coming live from Everton's new stadium tomorrow, and you'll hear commentary on Everton Brighton on 5 Live. Here's James though, as Leeds do attack. James left foot shot, that's blocked inside the penalty area by Gabriel, and it bounces all the way out to Ilya Gruev, the Bulgarian who has come in for Ampadu. Now back on the halfway line, Struijk, little pass forward to Gruev, and Leeds United, their supporters, if you've been to the Emirates Stadium, you'll know exactly where the Leeds United fans are, and it's travelling wherever you're trying to go this weekend can be tricky, and they are here, of course they are, in their thousands, the Leeds United supporters, whether it's white, blue or yellow, in that section around the lower tier in the end to our right, the end that has been defended by goalkeeper Perry. Arsenal 0, Leeds United 0, and Arsenal coming out from the back, but a careless pass by Gabriel, passes it in front of Rice and out of play for a throw-in. They'll take whatever they can get at the moment, Leeds.
Yeah, they've had a better last couple of minutes. They broke forward, they've got 3 or 4 passes in. Dan James coming inside on his left foot, he's tried to call it into that far post, but just not enough power on. Just looking at the keeper there, Perry, and he's tried to just clip one into Pirro, into his chest for him to try and get hold of it, but it's so difficult when you're doing that against Gabriel and Saliba, because they're so strong and they love that physical challenge. We've seen another one knocked a little bit longer there, and there's nothing really out and doing. I just think if Leeds are going to get any joy, it needs to be with quick breaks. They need to get 3 or 4 passes in to break that counter press and then see if they can get at the Arsenal back line.
Yes, Perry, the goalkeeper, he's a big man, the Brazilian, 6'5" he is, was signed from France, from Lyon this summer for over £15 million. Clean sheet on his Premier League debut on Monday night at Elland Road. This is a different kettle of fish, as they say in Campinas, where he was born, as Madueke battling for it. If you've just switched on and haven't heard, if you've been at a match, Arsenal half an hour before kick-off announcing that they had signed Eberici Eza from Crystal Palace, and he was here, he was on the pitch. I mean, the smile on his face, his teeth were glinting even from where we sit here, blowing kisses to the crowd. He had his Arsenal shirt on, his new number 10, a pair of baggy jeans, big flares. Here's Odegaard running in field, he's been caught, he was sandwiched there. Odegaard went to ground, free kick to Arsenal, centre of the Leeds half.
He's really clever in how he moves, how he can drop the shoulder, how he can let the ball run across him, and that's what Odegaard has done there. He's dropped the shoulder, he's let the ball run across him. The Leeds players couldn't get close to it, and in the end they had to foul him because he would have been running at the back 4.
So it is a free kick. Odegaard has just been left on his back. Tough start to the season for Arsenal. What a win that was for them, even though they didn't particularly pull up any trees at Old Trafford last weekend. But this match here today against newly promoted Leeds, they're at Liverpool next weekend, at Anfield on the Sunday afternoon. You'll hear that on 5 Live. Then at home to Nottingham Forest. Then there'll be a Champions League match. Then Manchester City at home, Newcastle away. So important for them, really, to win this match. It is a free kick, though, that Rice is going to take. As I say, it is middle of the half, but towards the right-hand side. So Arsenal, with the set-piece plan, there are 6 of them gathered together. You could throw a blanket over them as they say, on the far side of the penalty area, and then suddenly they all run along a line. Rice delivers it in, and it's headed across the face of goal. I think possibly Saliba, maybe Gabriel, the two of them were together there, but it didn't threaten Terry's goal, and it is a goal kick, and it's still 0-0.
Yeah, it's interesting watching the Arsenal set pieces. We know that they're really clever. They're very creative from the set pieces, and you look at how they run along the line. They look like they're just offside. The timing is really good. Just when Declan Rice is about to cross the ball in, they just pop back onside.
Leeds playing it out from the back, in danger of losing it, and Gyökeres had a chance there. It was won back by Zubamendi on the edge of the area. Stack was caught in possession. I thought that might have been a foul, but I'm not sure the referee was going to give it. And therefore, Gyökeres came at him quickly, and Leeds very, very nearly shot themselves in the foot there. And Gyökeres just couldn't, well, as he turned, tried to adjust, threw himself at it, got a touch to it with his foot, but couldn't direct it on target.
Yeah, I thought it was an aggressive press. It looked fair. Maybe could have been a foul. Not too sure, but it was a good press. It was set up well. Leeds, too many straight balls. You can't really get out of there. The ball comes into Gyökeres. He's got more time than he thinks. He tries to snatch it out one touch when he actually might have had time to take a touch and then finish. That's how much space he had in and around the penalty spot.
Yeah, he was quiet last week at Old Trafford. Gyökeres. 22 touches he had. He was on the field for an hour. He didn't have an attempt on goal, so technically that was an attempt on goal. But I don't know about you, I do feel that was a foul by Zubamendi on Stack on the edge of the box. I thought Zubamendi made contact with Stack, who then, as a result, played it to Gyökeres.
It would have been pulled back and looked at, that's for sure.
Anyway, Gyökeres didn't put it in the net. Arsenal 0, Leeds United 0. And here's Declan Rice, central third of the field. Finds Odegaard. Really looking forward again to seeing this midfield, Odegaard, Zubamendi and Rice. There's plenty of potency there, and I was interested actually to hear this week, because I thought he was quiet, Zubamendi, at Old Trafford, but seemingly had been unwell last week, had missed 2 training sessions. And when I heard that, I thought, yeah, that actually does make sense. And Zubamendi, who effectively is the replacement for Thomas Partey, but as I think most listeners will know, he's a very, very fine midfielder.
Yeah, he is. We've seen him for Sociedad, we've seen him for Spain, we've seen them performances that he puts in, how he links the play, but also how he switched on defensively as well. You mentioned a midfield 3 for Arsenal, but if you look at Calafiori's position when he's coming inside a little bit deeper or a little bit higher, there's almost a midfield 4.
Odegaard, Madueke tries to tee it up for Gyökeres inside the area, but Bogle came in, timed the challenge perfectly. It was just played by Madueke sort of diagonally across the box for Gyökeres to run onto, but initially there, Odegaard, when he won it back, I mean, that looked as though that was going to open up for Arsenal, but Bogle put in the challenge.
Yeah, Bogle got back in quite well. I thought the weighted pass wasn't quite right from Madueke, and it sent Gyökeres too far away from the goal for him to be able to swing his left foot at that.
Arsenal 0, Leeds United 0. So Arsenal have not been able to turn the pre-match optimism into an opening goal just yet, and now Leeds have won a free kick in the central third of the field. And actually with the Eza signing as well, Andy, that means that the total spending on new players under Mikel Arteta in the time that he's been the Arsenal manager, and it's coming up 6 years in the middle of the season, it will now be in the region of £1 billion. So that's why he's expected to produce results, as Leeds are onto this now. Stack coming forward through the middle, gives it to Dan James, edge of the area. James shoots, but straight into Calafiori, but the ball bounces away off the Italian and out of play for a corner to Leeds.
Yeah, turnover and play. Stack does well to get on the ball. He drives forward into that space and feeds it to Dan James. With Dan James' pace, I would have liked him to maybe take on that 1v1 a little bit more, see if he could have shifted it, see if he could if he can run at the defenders, because when he does shift it and when he moves, he's so quick. But it's a dangerous enough situation for Leeds now. They're going to have to make the most of these set pieces.
Yeah, Anton Stack, the tall German midfielder, German international, signed from Hoffenheim this summer. Here is the corner for Leeds United, which is headed goalwards, and that's a super save. Super save by Raya, just underneath the crossbar. Headed goalwards, I think Strauch it was, Pascal Strauch, who got his head to it. And that is an excellent reaction save by the Arsenal goalkeeper to keep it at 0-0.
Yeah, it's a good header. There was good pace on it. If you're being maybe a little bit critical, it was probably a little bit too central, but it is a good save. Give credit to the keeper. How Stroke is free in the middle of the goal. That shouldn't be happening from an Arsenal perspective.
No, he made a great connection with it from maybe 7 or 8 yards. Here is the resultant corner, which is played into the near post, headed out and then deflected as James challenged for it, but that might set Arsenal away on the counter-attack. It does, but Dan James was able, having lost possession. He has pace, as we know, Dan James, the Welsh international, and he beat Gyökeres in a race and was able to play it back to his goalkeeper. But there's a bit of encouragement there for Leeds United with that little period of pressure that they had on Arsenal.
Yeah, I think they've been better probably the last 5 or 6 minutes. It hasn't been as dominant from Arsenal, who got off to a brilliant start. And I think it's always important in these games when you're a team that's coming to you, a bit of an underdog, that you don't concede early in the game. And they seem to have weathered that early storm a little bit now and grown into the game a bit.
If you've just got back into your car, whatever you've been doing, whether you've been at a match, it's 0-0 here. But it is Leeds who are coming forward with James. James down the right gets it into the near post, and Gnonto was challenging Raya, and the two of them came together. Raya has stayed on the ground. It was deflected behind. Referee Gillett says it was a goal kick. I think Raya's all right. He's just lying on his back with his right arm stretched out above his head. I think he's just taking a moment, but my suspicion is he's going to be all right.
Yeah, he'll be fine, I'm sure. But it's good play from Dan James. We spoke a second ago about him getting on the outside and getting that cross in, and he's done that there. And more optimism, a little bit more hope from Leeds if they can grow into it. They've shown that they can create chances in this game.
Yeah, he's all right. Raya is back on his feet, didn't need treatment. So Arsenal 0, Leeds United 0. No doubt about the result of the day in the lunchtime kickoff. Manchester City 0. Tottenham 2. That was a bit of a surprise, wasn't it? I'm not sure too many saw that with the way that Manchester City had started last weekend, but what a start in the Premier League now for one of your old clubs.
Yeah, a really good result, and what it does is it just backs up their good home performance last weekend as well, and a good start for Thomas Frank. It'll be interesting what he can conjure up on the other side of North London.
Yes, it will, and we will have more on all of the earlier matches at half-time. We'll bring you interviews during the half-time break here on 5 Live. And, of course, match of the day tonight. Kelly Cates gets her goal on a Saturday night for the first time in the new rota with Alan Shearer and Micah Richards. So that is on BBC One tonight, anytime on the iPlayer. And you will see, as well as Manchester City 0, Tottenham 2, Brentford's win against Aston Villa, which was the 5 Live commentary match earlier, Burnley's 2-0 win against Sunderland, Bournemouth 1, Wolves 0, and as I say, more on all of that at half-time. Arsenal playing the ball out towards Saka, but he couldn't keep it in play. Zubamendi just put too much on the pass. Saka couldn't keep it in, and it's a throw into Leeds 10 yards inside their own half.
With the signing of Gyökeres, one of the questions that you would ask of Arsenal, will it add kind of another option to them in terms of his physicality? Can they go a little bit more direct at times, especially against teams who maybe press them really high up the pitch? We haven't seen too much of that at the moment, as Leeds have been in kind of a low to a mid block. So it'd be interesting to see if that comes out throughout the season, or even throughout this game, if Leeds get a little bit higher up the pitch.
Leeds lost it there, or rather Calafiori, as Andy Reid said, stepping into that midfield position, actually won it back with a header, and so Arsenal have got themselves a throw now on the far side that they take, and Gabriel gives it back to Zubamendi. Rice comes short, and then Arsenal go back towards the back line. Yeah, an important day for Gyökeres. With all of the talk about Eza, he sort of quietly slipped into this match, Gyökeres, but how much he would love to get a goal here. Did score pre-season, remember, but these are the matches that matter. Odegaard, edge of the box, curls it in, sort of scoops it in, and it's headed by Madueke rather tamely straight behind for a goal kick. 0-0.
Arsenal shape interests me. I like it when I watch them play. It's very fluid, you know. When it's set up, it can kind of look like a 4-3-3, but as we've seen there, it can look like three at the back with Timber, Saliba and Gabriel, and then what you find is Declan Rice, Zubimendi as kind of 2 6s, and then Calafiore's position when he comes inside, it's almost like him and Odegaard then at 2 10s, with then Saka out wide and Madueke out wide. It's really flexible, and it's really, really difficult to play against because you can find yourself really quickly getting outnumbered in the middle of the park.
Arsenal 0, Leeds United 0. This is BBC Radio 5 Live, again bringing you the 5:30 Premier League kickoffs on a Saturday. You'll hear that all season long, whether it's 5 Live, Sports Extra or wherever, and indeed for the next 3 seasons as well. Arsenal 0, Leeds United 0, as we continue this season to bring you even more Premier League commentaries than we have done before. Leeds going back towards the edge of the penalty area. Perry plays it out here to the left-hand side, where Struijk, who's had that big chance with the header that was saved by Raya, his pass intercepted by Saka, he sends it forward. Gruev is able to head it back to the goalkeeper. Must mention as well, before the match there was a moment's applause to remember the Arsenal director Richard Carr, who has died recently. In the programme today, Josh Kroenke talks about Richard Carr and says he devoted his life to Arsenal and made a huge contribution towards the academy, and really touching applause. Clearly Arsenal will miss Richard Carr. The ball at the back with Leeds United. It's played to Rodon, passes it forward, just kept in play over there on the far side by James, but then it's played off him and out for a throw-in to Arsenal that the long-haired Calafiori will take, and Martin Odegaard has sat down. This is a worry for Arsenal, and so the Arsenal physio will come on to see what the problem is with Martin Odegaard, who seems to be holding, Andy, his lower left leg.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't see him take any contact. The only contact that he has taken was when he won that free kick where he let the ball run across his body and was kind of sandwiched between the two Leeds players. He didn't seem to be limping, or I didn't notice him limping, but he's obviously got a problem, and he doesn't look too happy with whatever's going on there.
Still sitting there. They're in discussions, and the substitutes have been sent out to warm up. The other thing as well, we mentioned it before the match, Andy, still keeping an eye on Odegaard, and the discussions continue. The other thing is that 15-year-old Max Dowman is on the bench for Arsenal for the first time, and there is great excitement as well about him being involved in the first team picture for the first time. Yeah,
he comes with an incredible reputation. Everybody speaks so highly of him. I've seen him play a couple of times, and he looks like an incredible talent. I always love it when young players get an opportunity as well. It's a real passion of mine. Yeah, and I'm sure we will see him on the pitch this season, if not in this match. And actually, that is going to be it for Martin Odegaard, the Arsenal captain, is having to leave the pitch. And Ethan Nwaneri, still himself only 18 years old, is being prepared, but he has sat back down, and I think Odegaard is going to give it a go again and come back onto the pitch. Yeah, I think you'd do well to get him off the pitch easily. He's a player that when you watch him, it's quite obvious that he loves playing football. He loves being out there. You can tell he's passionate. He's the captain. He doesn't want to come off that pitch. That's for sure. Well, they've got Nwaneri ready just in case. Still waiting, Odegaard. Actually, he's now flexing his right shoulder. So I'm not sure Dr. Murray was terribly accurate with his diagnosis of a lower left leg issue. Yeah, couldn't have been further away, mate. Yes, it could be the leg, or it could be the shoulder. It's one of the two. So maybe he's coming back on. That's the main thing. Yeah, he's coming back on. So whatever it is, it looks as though he's all right. Yes. Arsenal 0, Leeds United 0. I suspect that might strike a chord with one or two people who are listening. So the ball comes back towards the edge of the penalty area, the Arsenal penalty area. Gabriel goes back to his goalkeeper, Raya. Already one very good save, made a couple of decent saves last weekend at Old Trafford as well. And there's an excellent pass out from Raya to Calafiori, who's running freely and then overhits the pass. And Madueke can't even... he was asked a great deal of
by that pass from Calafiori, who actually raises a hand of apology to Madueke for overhitting it down, and it actually ran out of play. Madueke trying to stop it right next to the Leeds United supporters, who very much enjoyed him failing to do that.
Yeah, it was poor from Calafiori there. But if we look at what happened just before that, you've got Arsenal dropped them down deep, and Leeds had 4 men pressing them, and we mentioned about them earlier, could they go maybe a little bit more direct, and Ray had just clipped a lovely ball towards the halfway line to Calafiori, took 4 Leeds players out, so that press had kind of gone and they couldn't get back in quick enough, and like we mentioned, only for a sloppy pass from Calafiori that could have been very dangerous.
Arsenal 0, Leeds United 0, 5 Live from the BBC, also via the BBC Sounds app. Choice of listening, the 100 continues on Sports Extra, and Arsenal with Odegaard back on the field, win a free kick 10 yards inside their own half. Big night on the golf tonight as well, with Tommy Fleetwood leading the Tour Championship. We'll keep you up to date with that during the course of the evening, and during 6:06 of course, Natalie Pike and Chris Sutton tonight. We'll hear from one of them at half-time as well. 0-0, and Arsenal, who lost only twice here in the Premier League last season. 1-0 defeat to West Ham, and then I was here in May when Bournemouth won. First time Bournemouth had ever won at away to Arsenal. Ball on the halfway line with Gabriel, passes it down the left-hand side. Here's Madueke. Bogle has stepped right off him. Madueke is able to take it on, but Jan James came back, got a touch on that, deflected into the Leeds penalty area, and then deflected away. James looking for 1-2 with Pirot. I'm not sure I've mentioned Pirot's name at all, actually, involved in the action until that point.
Yeah, he hasn't had much to go off, that's for sure. But Leeds are defending okay. They've got an okay shape about them at the moment. They're sticking to their task quite well. Arsenal will probably want to just change the tempo a little bit more.
Yep, Pirot, the leading scorer in the Championship last season with his 19 goals. As Arsenal now attack down the right, Saka, but Gudmundsson is defending this in the quadrant. And then Timber gets involved, and so does Gnonto, and then it's played away by Gudmundsson, but only to Odegaard, and Odegaard actually goes back. You can hear the groans of the Arsenal supporters behind us in the stands. They wanted the ball into the penalty area there from the captain, and actually it's ended up with Raya at the other end.
What you can find happen with Arsenal at the moment, they're so dominant in possession and in territory, and it ends up at times just being a little bit one-paced. They need to just change the tempo a little bit quicker and a little bit more often, because it's a little bit pedestrian, it's a little bit slow. You know, you have it. Leeds aren't really getting up and pressing them, so they're letting them have it, but they're getting men behind the ball, and it's difficult for Arsenal to break them down. So I suggest just a little bit of a change of tempo, a little bit more dynamic, and Arsenal could create openings.
Arsenal 0, Leeds 0, as Zubimendi rolls a right-footed pass out to Saka, down in front of us in the pinky orangey boots, the Arsenal number 7. Back it goes centrally, Gabriel now to Madueke, looking for the overlap of Calafiori. It's deflected into the penalty area and onto the head of Rodon. Came off Bogle onto the head of Rodon, who nodded it behind for Arsenal's first corner of the match after they got their 31st goal from a corner since the start of the 23-24 season last Sunday at Old Trafford.
That's incredible. It really is incredible. I can't remember a team ever being so dominant from attacking set plays. It's an incredible record.
Declan Rice gets a cheery welcome from the Leeds United supporters as he trots over towards them there and runs his fingers through his hair. So, what have Arsenal got in store here? How are Leeds going to defend it? Players grouped beyond the far post as Rice curls it into the near post, and it's headed in! It's 1-0 to Arsenal, and they've scored from another corner. And it might well be Jurriën Timber who's got the touch on that. In amongst a crowd of players. Well, Gyökeres is being congratulated, Timber as well. Timber's got a big smile on his face. But Arsenal, yet again, 2 goals this season, both from corners, and they lead Leeds by 1-0.
Well, that incredible record continues. You look at the ball from Declan Rice, there's not an awful lot of pace on it, but it's really accurate. Players go and attack it. You've got a lot of players in that front post space, and it's so difficult to see who got the final touch on it. but I think it is Timber, and it's actually a fantastic header. It really is. He's not the tallest, but he leaps really well. The timing's good, and he directs it into that far corner. Really, really good goal. Really good delivery. Another set-piece goal for Arsenal. Incredible.
Yeah, it is. Well, make that 32 then. 32 goals from corners since the beginning of the 2023-24 season, and that is way ahead of the next team, which is Liverpool with 20. And it's just so hard to defend. A whole group of them, all of those players that we mentioned, Andy, who were in that group of 4 or 5 at the back post, then all sprint across the penalty area. Yet, you still have to get yourself into the right position, and the delivery, of course, as well, I suppose, from Declan Rice is all important. And Timber there, just a little glance, had to stretch away from goal, but got the touch, and it flashed into the net. Yeah,
and there's a desire to want to get your head on the ball as well. There really is. Somebody wants to really head it, then they will, and Arsenal have that desire. It's a real body blow for Leeds. That is, they've actually been reasonably comfortable the last 10-15 minutes.
1-0 to Arsenal, as the ball is just played out for a throw-in rather than a corner by Strauch down on his dead ball line. So the goal, the Jurien Timber goal, scored in the 34th minute, and Arsenal's 2 goals this season have come from 2 of the fullbacks, Calafiori at Old Trafford, and Timber scoring the first Premier League goal of this new season here at the Emirates. Jurien Timber, the 24-year-old Dutch international, who has had a bit of an injury issue, actually. He's not been able to fully train this season. Came on as a substitute at Old Trafford last weekend, and that wasn't bad, was it, when you can bring on Timber and Lewis Skelly as substitutes for White and Calafiori, as Arteta did last week. It
just shows the strength and depth that they've got now. They've got it at the back, but they've also got it up that top end of the pitch.
Zubamendi overhits the pass forward, so that will bounce through, and the Arsenal supporters just taunting the Leeds United fans, as you can hear. Leeds, who have just conceded their first goal of this new Premier League season. So 1-0 it is, and in terms of the strength and depth of the positions, Andy, when Eberiche, Eze, and when they scored, the television cameras immediately focused in on Eze with another big smile on his face, sitting in the stands somewhere down below us. He can play over on the left-hand side, but there is the option that he could play in the middle in this Arsenal system as well. More on that in a moment, because Zubamendi has won it back. He's had a very effective game so far. Zubamendi in the midfield, lovely change of feet, playing it into Odegaard on the edge of the area. Then Rice is able to readjust and volley it out to Madueke, who rolls his foot over the ball on his left foot, still on his left foot, into the penalty area up against Dan James, and then flicks it off to Calafiori, who's got Gabriel close to him. Gabriel points to Calafiori. In fact, it goes to Madueke, his cross into the area, headed away by Rodon, and then Zubamendi underneath it hits a flying volley that was high over the top of the bar into the Arsenal fans.
Yeah, we've gone back to what it was like in the early stages of the game, where Leeds had just kind of camped in and around their own 18-yard box. Arsenal are playing at will. There's some good runs, some overlapping runs, underlapping runs. They're getting plenty of players into the box, and when they get the clearance, because Arsenal have so many men forward, they can land on them second balls, and they're really dominating possession.
So that is the good news. The bad news is that Martin Odegaard is not able to continue, and he is walking off the field, and he just uses his left hand to slap one of the hands of 18-year-old Ethan Nwaneri, who comes on to replace him, and that right arm of his is hanging down by his side, and he's going to speak to one or two of his colleagues and the medical staff on the bench, and then walks away, runs his fingers through his hair, head slightly bowed as he goes down the tunnel.
Yeah, he looks disappointed. I think an injury like that for a player like Odegaard is it's particularly difficult, because he relies so much on his balance and so much on his change of pace, and you need your arms to be able to hold people off, and to be able to keep your balance. So Arsenal fans will be hopeful and hoping that it's not too serious.
So on comes Ethan Nwaneri, and to talk of the highly rated Max Dowman on the bench, the 15-year-old it kind of makes you forget that Ethan Nwaneri, likewise, has created quite a stir with what he's done over the course of the last year or so, when he broke through really as an Arsenal first team player. Bogle is fouled by Calafiori. That's a free kick to Leeds over on the far side. Leeds United supporters over in the corner are suggesting that might be worth a yellow card, but I think it'll only be a free kick, Andy.
Yeah, I think he has caught him there a little bit. He was on the way back. I think Bogle will be fine. I think the area that was in suggests that it maybe wouldn't be a booking. If it was a bit further up the pitch, then maybe that might be a different decision.
But Nwaneri, 16 starts, 21 substitute appearances for Arsenal across all of the competitions last season, signed a new contract this month, so a new long-term contract. At 18 years old, really, that's a lot of football for a team like Arsenal.
No, it's incredible, but he's a smashing player, he really is. I love watching how he manipulates the ball, how he glides, and he fits. He looks like an Arsenal-type player, the way he moves and the way he controls that ball.
Yes, and then he was part of Lee Carsley's European Under-21 Championship squad that won the tournament in Bratislava at the end of last season, which you might have heard with us. Arsenal 1-0 up then. Half-time approaching on 5 Live, but Leeds with a free kick that Stack hits in towards the edge of the area. The poor delivery really, and Gyökeres there was able to just whack it away downfield. Stack's got to chase this. He's been dispossessed by Madueke, but that is given as a foul. Shoots goalwards, saved by Perry in any case. But referee Gillett says that Madueke fouled Stack as he won the ball back.
I don't know, I'm not too sure. Maybe I'm not too sure, as we kind of see the replay. Stack's taking a chance here. He does have his hand on his shoulder, in fairness, as we see the replay, but Stack, by not clearing that ball and trying to turn out, he takes a real risk, because if he doesn't quite get that right, and the referee doesn't blow for that free kick, Madueke is true on goal, and I'm not too sure about that from Stack.
Debatable. Arsenal 1-0 up through the Timber goal from the corner. Saliba playing it back to Raya, who's rather sliced that under no particular pressure. Timbo's underneath it, headed forward for Leeds. Now Stroke takes it down. Goodmanson volley on the turn. Gnonto tries to win it back, but here is the goal scorer Timber for Arsenal, who is dispossessed by little Gnonto up towards Tanaka. Referee waves the advantage. Gnonto might have been fouled there, but Tanaka carries it forward, but there's no pace, no sharpness in that, so Arsenal are very quickly back into position. And Arsenal starting with a clean sheet at Old Trafford, despite all of the chances that Manchester United had in that match. Here's Gnonto again. They did lose so many points from winning positions last season, if you remember. 21 points they dropped from winning positions, Arsenal, in the Premier League last season, and a total of 14 draws in the Premier League. That really cost them when you consider they finished 10 points behind Liverpool in the end. Arsenal runners-up for a third year running in the Premier League. Goodmanson to take this through on the halfway line.
When you talk about the amount of money that has been spent over the time, and you mentioned it earlier on, it most certainly a club like this brings different pressures then. The money that's been spent just this summer alone that we spoke about earlier on, which is needed, and the top clubs do spend that type of money, but you want to be seeing then results, you want to be seeing trophies, and the main one being the Premier League.
That's it, Andy, isn't it? If you spend that amount of money, something now with Eza, around about £250 million, that is intended to make the difference and bridge the gap, the points that they fell short with in the last 3 seasons. And actually, in that article, I don't know if you read it in the programme today, Josh Kroenke, the son of Stan Kroenke, pretty much said the same thing about embracing the pressure, and he said, we vow to take the learnings from last season to improve. 1-0 up here, and Nwaneri, tidy play from him in centre field, keeping possession. And he's another one, isn't he, who can play in a number of positions, whether it's on the right hand side going forward, or he's stepped into the Odegaard role, hasn't he?
Yeah, I think when you play in this Arsenal team and you train with them every single day, it does breed a degree of tactical flexibility, and I think the Arsenal players have to have that. They can find themselves in different positions. I think what you find is that there's certain positions that need to be filled, but who they're filled by, I think, is kind of flexible, which is sometimes you see Saka, Madueke high and wide, other times it's Calafiore and Timber high and wide, and the others can go and take up different positions. So I think you develop that tactical flexibility by training and playing in this Arsenal team.
It is Arsenal 1, Leeds United 0, and half-time is approaching. Leeds goalkeeper Perry strikes this long downfield. Calafiore is going to be able to head it back to Raya, who just controls it and moves the ball onto his right foot. Pirro sort of moves towards him, so in the end he does pick it up. Waneri, incidentally, played in the Premier League when he was 15 years and 181 days old. Were Dauman to come on, he is actually older than that. Dauman is 15 years today, 235 days old. So Waneri would retain that record as Arsenal's youngest Premier League player. 3 minutes of added time to come, which we will be into in 1 second. Arsenal with Gabriel just moves the ball forward and then taps it across to Saliba, who's going to hit a long pass, which he does now, towards Timber, who's further ahead than Saka. Timber is able to touch it back to Saka. Timber gets it back. Zubamendi is available, Arsenal's new number 36, the Spanish European Championship winner. Remember when he came on at half-time for Rodri in the final in Berlin? And then Arsenal, this is nice, Waneri through the middle, twists and turns, but Gruev puts the challenge in on him, but it's given away. Arsenal again, Timber through for Saka. Saka shoots in! Well, it flew past Perry. Whether it took a little deflection off Struijk or not, I'm not sure, because Perry seemed to be wrong-footed. It flew over his right shoulder and into the net, but Saka scores his first goal of the season, and Arsenal now 2-0 against Leeds United.
From an Arsenal point of view, it's a brilliant goal, and it's a great time to score it as well. Really well worked. The ball got played through to Saka. The weight on the pass was really good. He's on his right foot, but there's no way that the Leeds keeper should get beaten from there. He can't get beaten. It's almost just gone through his arms. Saka's hit it high into the roof of the net, but from that angle he shouldn't be getting beaten. And from a Leeds point of view, it's a disastrous time to concede, and it's such a poor goal to concede as well.
Yeah, it was given away by Gruev, wasn't it, in the centre field? But you're right, the pass was perfect. No, there was no deflection from Saka's shot. I mean, it was a tight angle, right side of the penalty area. Struijk was stretching in, but there's no way he got a touch, and it just flies past over the right shoulder of Perry as he stuck an arm out.
Yeah, he hasn't reacted quick enough. He hasn't moved his body quick enough. His hands were too low. He hasn't lifted his hands up quick enough to be able to stop it. A really, really poor goal from a Leeds point of view, and like I said, a terrible time to concede a goal.
2-0 then, Arsenal. Bukayo Saka off and running with his first goal of the new season after the 12 that he scored in all competitions last season. But remember, he did have that injury that he picked up at Crystal Palace in the middle of the season. But an opportunity like that, he just smashed it, didn't he? The rising shot on his right foot, and it flew past Perry and into the far corner of the net. So Arsenal 2, Leeds United 0, and Arsenal, just like Tottenham, are on course to make it 2 wins out of 2 at the start of the new season. Indeed, were Leeds United able to get themselves out of this position, then we will very much be hailing them in about an hour's time, Andy.
Yeah, well, look, at some of the positives that was, you're kind of going to say, if it get to half-time and it's 1-0, they haven't really conceded very many chances from open play. The goal they conceded was from a set-piece. They nearly scored themselves from a set-piece, so there is going to be opportunities, and it's just like, get through to half-time. Where's the leaders? Who's organising? Come on, no mistakes. Don't give the ball away sloppy. Get yourself to half-time at 1-0, and they haven't been able to do that, and it's a very, very long way back for them. It really is.
Yeah, second goal coming in out of time. Half-time whistle is coming shortly. I wonder who we'll hear from at half-time. I suspect that, in fact, there is the half-time whistle, so we'll find out all too soon who we'll be hearing from after the earlier matches. But Arsenal will absolutely take that after all of the pre-match optimism, the parading of Eberici Eze on the pitch, their latest signing, all of the smiles, all of the cheers, North London forever, and 2 goals in the first half from Timber and Saka.
Yeah, they've dominated possession, they've dominated territory, but, you know, it must be said, we're out creating an awful lot of chances. You know, they've had a couple of chances from set pieces and a couple of well-worked moves, but no real attempts on goal. So at Leeds, as I said, very, very disappointing for them to concede when they did. It's always a bit of a nightmare. They'll be hoping that they can create an opportunity somehow early in the second half, whether it be from the corner or free kick, because they haven't really created very much from open play.
The other thing that they've got rid of here this season is that red extending tunnel. So, you know, it was sort of, it would stretch out towards the pitch side. That's gone now. So standing up here, I can look down and see the players, the last of them, disappearing completely out of sight and eventually under a little perspex roof there towards the dressing rooms. So all good for Arsenal here. Leeds United 2-0 down, Arsenal 2 up through Timber and Saka at the break.
Keith Andrews and Jayden Anthony among the people you will hear from at half-time. Earlier in the Premier League, Manchester City 0, Tottenham 2. Burnley 2, Sunderland 0, Brentford 1, Aston Villa 0, Dango Ouattara scoring on his debut, Bournemouth 1, Wolves 0. So all 3 promoted teams have now won within the first 2 weeks of the season, and that's the first time that's happened since 2016, when it was Hull, Middlesbrough and Burnley who did that. Standout result in the Championship was Coventry beating QPR 7-1, although Middlesbrough and Stoke have kept at their 100% records. The League One leaders Stevenage and the League Two leaders Crewe both lost. Celtic won 3-0 against Livingston. Hearts came from 3 down to get a 3-3 draw against Motherwell at Tynecastle. Scotland beat Wales at the Women's Rugby Union World Cup. And the unbeaten Southern Brave have qualified for next Sunday's final of the Women's 100 after beating London Spirit. So we'll get to the reaction from the day's sport after Carl Hartley in the news.
The voice of the UK.
This is BBC Radio 5 Live.
Thanks, Mark. Around a dozen protests have been taking place across the UK over the use of hotels for housing asylum seekers. There have been no reports of serious trouble, but police had to step in to keep opposing groups separated in places where anti-racism campaigners mounted counter demonstrations. Labour and the Conservatives have dismissed a promise by Reform UK to begin mass deportations of people crossing the Channel if the party wins the next election. Labour says the plan is pie in the sky, while the Tories say Reform are recycling its ideas. Palestinian media say about 20 people have been killed by Israeli strikes on a camp for displaced people in Khan Yunis in southern Gaza. An entire family is said to have died when their tent was hit. And police in Lancashire say builders have found human bones believed to be those of children buried at a property they were renovating in Lytham. Officers say they believe the burial was historical and they're not treating the discovery as suspicious.
In 2002, UK indie was sweeping the nation.
A really vibrant British music scene.
But just 6 years later, the genre was branded landfill indie.
The rise and fall of indie sleaze.
This is the story of this millennium's most influential bands.
The lyrics felt like they were speaking to me.
It was really exciting.
Exploring the music, the fun, the tabloid frenzy, the destructive behaviour.
There was a fanaticism to the people coming to the gigs.
Ride the highs and lows of noughties UK guitar music with me, Kate Nash.
It has really gone a bit silly, hasn't it?
The rise and fall of indie sleaze.
Search Indie Sleaze on BBC Sounds.
This is 5 Live Sports with Mark Chapman.
Listen on BBC Sounds.
Second half from the Emirates on the way, where Arsenal lead 2-0, and then it is 6:06 with Natalie Pike and Chris Sutton. Brentford have their first win of the season. Dango Ouattara scoring on his debut as they beat Aston Villa 1-0. A first win then for Keith Andrews, and here he is.
Very proud of the team, very proud of the football club. We spoke about it pretty soon. I was over last Sunday's game by Sunday night, Monday morning. Knew kind of soon what it needed to look like this week. We all spoke about it as a group. I'm big on the players, staff having a voice within it. I think it's really important. And the big word all week was identity, about what we are as a football club, what we are as a team, what we want to represent, and what I want my team to look like ultimately. And I think without the ball today, we got that. So immense pride in the team and the performance.
And now it's time for the Johan Wissa question. What's the latest?
The latest is there is it 8 days left? You'll probably tell me more.
The first, I think, isn't it?
Yeah, it wasn't right for him to be in the squad today. I felt that the group had to be the priority, the team that were absolutely committed to putting a performance out there and gaining a result that would give us confidence. So I made the decision to not include Johan. And tomorrow's another day.
It's difficult, isn't it? Are you planning for him to leave? Are you planning for him to be here? You're a bit in limbo. It's obviously a new experience for you.
Yes, it is a new experience. I'm very, very experienced in this industry, because I said this the other day, that I've been in this industry longer than he's been alive in the professional game. So I am experienced, but you're right, this role is very different, and navigating that. And I've touched on it in recent weeks, that it's been far from ideal for a lot of people, me included. I genuinely deal with it day by day. In terms of what I expect him to be here.
Keith Andrews with John Southall. Burnley got their first win back in the Premier League. They beat Sunderland 2-0. Jayden Anthony got the second.
Yeah, amazing. We wanted to come here and get a result, and yeah, we want to make this place tough to come to, and I thought we'd done that today. Everyone gave 100%, and yeah, got a lovely win.
And 2 lovely performances, particularly in the 2 goals from you. That flick on for the first and then a really nicely taken goal for the second. Talk me through both.
Yeah, that's what I'm in the team to do, really, to try and create and help the team going forward. And yeah, it was an easy flick on my end, and yeah, Josh made it look probably a bit better than what it was, and with a lovely finish. And then yeah, with the second goal, I make them runs 1,000 times a game. And to be fair to Josh, he always plays them and always looks. So yeah, I knew once the space was there to make that run, and then it was about staying composed, and yeah, done that, and luckily it went in.
How important did that goal feel on the pitch, considering that Sunderland were pressing you all hard for an equaliser?
Yeah, we needed that. My legs had gone a bit, so yeah, it was nice to get the goal and give us that cushion. And yeah, like you say, they probably had a bit of control at that point, and yeah, it was nice to give us that cushion, and yeah, we could see it out from there.
Sarah Mulkerrins with the questions. Bournemouth's goal scorer was Marcus Tavernier in their 1-0 win against Wolves.
I feel like the manager really wanted us to start off the home campaign very strongly, and I feel like we did that today. I know we put in a good performance in against Liverpool, but we didn't get anything from it, so we knew that today was going to be a big game for us. And the manager spoke about, just before the game, about our record against Wolves at home, so we knew we had something to prove today, and I think we did that in the way we played. There was times when they went down to 10 men, we probably could have kept the ball a bit better, but us being attackers, we want to get our names on the score sheet and try and see it off that way. But we've got to give credit to the defence in the way they finished out the game, and because at times when you go down to 10 men that you can get complacent, but they didn't. They focused and got us the win in the end of the day. Getting the first 3 points of the season is always massive, and we've done that today in a good manner. I believe. I feel like we've got the goal and we've got a clean sheet, but we know that's just one win of the season, so we have to continue these performances against other teams to continue to get to where we want to get to.
In the early game, Tottenham beat Manchester City 2-0. Here's Thomas Frank with Guy Mowbray.
Very pleased with the result and overall with the performance. I think the first 35 minutes, I think City was slightly on top and were not completely dominating us, but more on top. And I think that goal helped, of course. But a big thing in these games where we're playing against City is top team in any way. Stay in the game, keep doing what you want to do, and then we just got our foot in the game. And I think second half were exceptional in many ways. We kept the high pressure, we went up, was aggressive, we didn't drop in. Of course they push us back sometimes, and we constantly went for the 3-0 goal, which we unfortunately didn't get. Big thing, clean sheet, second clean sheet in a row. Last year we got 6, so that's been a big thing for me, for the players, for the coaches, everything that we need to be aware of that.
Front foot, press, forcing the opposition back, dare I say, quite reminiscent of your win with Brentford here 3 years ago.
Yeah, there's some similarities, yes. I love my former club Brentford, and I'm falling in love with this club here, but there were similarities. This is, of course, a great group of players as well. what they did the last couple of years, and last season was of course a tough season, but ending on a high. I came into the club and I saw a strong mentality in the players, a strong togetherness, and we just tried to build on that.
The outstanding result in the Championship came at Coventry as they thrashed QPR 7-1. So they remain unbeaten after the first 3 games of the season. Here's Frank Lampard.
From the first minute, it was a performance of quality, a performance of mentality and attitude, and they were at it in every single way. So very, very good.
12 goals in 2 matches now. What sort of statement is that to the rest of this division, do you think?
I don't know, and I don't care. I don't care. I look at the other results and I consider everything as after games, but I don't consider the statement after 3 games. I just think about what it means for us. It's great because it's good feeling, but good feeling can easily turn into overconfidence and expectation, and that would just happen without the bits I've just been speaking about. So it's good, right? It's brilliant. We should enjoy tonight. I hope the fans enjoy it tonight. I know they enjoyed the game, but my job is to also be level-headed and understand what made that performance. And again, it's work with the players, and they're very attentive. They work really hard. They take on information, and today you saw that. But again, consistency is the only thing that will give us success in this league.
So plenty to talk about on 606 with Natalie and maybe Chris. We don't know where he is.
Hopefully, Chris, that'd be nice, wouldn't it, Mark? Yes, but there's absolutely
Debatable.
loads to talk about, and we want to hear from you. So book your call in right now, 08085 909 693. We're with you from 7:30. So much to talk about. First of all, Spurs fans, we'd love to speak to you. Obviously, at the start of the game, they were singing Levy Out. By the end of the game, they were very, very happy. So Spurs fans, we want to hear from you. And also, Manchester City fans, how are you feeling? What did you make of James Trafford's performance today? Obviously, incredible win last week. Bad day at the office today. Arsenal fans, 2-0 at half-time. But I want to speak to you about Eze. And Mark, I presume you've seen the Arsenal post on social media.
I haven't actually, no, but it involves Righty, doesn't it?
Well, they've posted, this is the line under it when they talk about Eze. It was only ever Arsenal. Very nice, eh?
As I said to John Murray earlier, I don't know who that could be aimed at.
Me neither, but Arsenal fans, we'd love to hear from you on that as well. And then we just heard about Coventry. Coventry fans, unbelievable news that you've been able to buy the stadium. We want to hear from you. And I want to speak to some Morecambe fans as well. I'm a big fan of the National League. Morecambe bought this week, new manager, first victory today as well. So whoever you support, this is your time to speak about your club on the radio. 08085 909 693.
And just as you finish that trail, the big screen at the Emirates has just shown Ian Wright hugging Eze as part of their launch video. Thank you very much. And Natalie, let's just switch before the second half of the Emirates to the Women's Rugby Union World Cup. Scotland beating Wales in their opening match. They scored 6 tries in a 38-8 win. So that's going to make it very hard for Wales to make it to the quarterfinals. Here's their coach, Sean Lynn.
I've just said to the players, that's just not good enough. We've said that we wanted to be physical, and Scotland, credit to them, they just bullied us off the park, especially at the breakdown. At times our accuracy, but you can't start both halves with them scoring tries, and that second half then, having a sim bin where we could have been in the game, but look, credit to some of the girls who come off the bench, they give some impact, but that's not good enough.
How are they in the dressing room now? What are they giving back to you?
Yeah, look, they're all upset. It's hurting them. They're very passionate, and they're disappointed by putting that result out today. But we got Canada next week, which is going to be another tough task, and then we got Fiji the week after. So those are the ones we're going to be looking to build on.
This was labelled the decider for the runner-up spot in this pool. Given Canada, your next opponents, and they are of course favourites to take this pool. So now that you lost this one, is there a fear that with that goes your chances for qualification?
I think we've just got to try and get something out of Canada, see what we can get from Canada, and then maybe Fiji next week might kick a scalp. Look, World Cups, there are upsets, and who knows, but we've got to make sure that we're on song for Canada next week.
And it's currently Canada 24, Fiji 0 at half-time. You can watch that on iPlayer. Earlier, Australia beat Samoa 73-0. In the Men's Rugby Championship, South Africa beat Australia 30-22. Matt Fitzpatrick leads after the third round of the British Masters. Tommy Fleetwood is the joint leader going into tonight's third round of the season-ending Tour Championship in Atlanta, level on 13 under. with America's Russell Henley. The Willie Mullins trained favourite Ethical Diamond won the big race of the day, the Ebor Handicap at York. In the 100, the Northern Superchargers did the double over Oval Invincibles, both the men and the women winning there. Southern Braves women beat London Spirits. They've got a 100% record and they are into next weekend's final straight away. It's currently in the men's side of things, London Spirits 78 for 2 off 47 balls at Lords. And in the one Super League game at the moment, nearly half an hour played, Catalan 4, Castleford 4. 6:06 on the way then, 08085 909 693 after the second half from the Emirates. Arsenal 2-0 up on Leeds. Back to Andy Reid and John Murray.
Yes, welcome back everyone to the Emirates. I wish I could say the same for probably about a quarter of the supporters in the ground, Andy. Where are they all?
I don't know.
They're winning 2-0, first home Premier League match of the season, and thousands of empty red seats, particularly in the central tier.
They're still tucking into the field, I think, John, and I would imagine that it's very nice too.
Costs a lot of money, doesn't it, to come and watch Premier League football matches? You'd think that people would want to get value for money. I know I would. Arsenal 2, Leeds 0. Very good first half, apart from the loss of their captain Odegaard with what looked like an arm injury. So Waneri came on for him. No further changes from either side at half-time. Arsenal with a throw-in down the left as they attack, as they like to do, towards the North Bank stand, which is to our left. And actually it's going to be a long throw from Calafieri, so they're organising themselves now. Arsenal, I see that Nicolas Jauvert, the set-piece coach, has just had a little sprint forward. Here's the long throw from Calafiori. It's headed away for Leeds. And then Saliba back to Calafiori, who's got his long hair partly tied up behind his head. And then Arsenal have possession still near the halfway line. Arsenal with Raya in goal. Remember, he did make a very good save from Strauch from a corner when it was still 0-0. For the back four of Timber, Saliba, Gabriel and Calafiori. Then Zubimendi with Rice and substitute Waneri. Saka on the right, Madueke on the left, and Gyökeres through the middle. Here is Bukayo Saka, scored shortly before half-time. Lovely play from him, but actually the cross was overhit. Calafiori, I thought, might have fouled Dan James as he nudged him over. No free kick given. Calafiori's ball into the middle, and that is cleared away by Stack and will be allowed to bounce out of play. And the Leeds team, Perry in goal. Both you and I, Andy, thought that really, strictly speaking, shouldn't have been beaten by the Saka shot for the second goal. You can watch that on Match of the Day tonight. Bogle, Rodon, Strauch and Goodmanson, the back four. Then Gruev with Tanaka and Stack in midfield. James on the right, Gnonto on the left, and Pirro through the middle, who really has not had a sniff yet in the match. Arsenal on course to make it 2 wins out of 2 at the start of this Premier League season. Leeds with the proverbial mountain to climb, as Calafiori has the ball down in front of us. Mikel Arteta, dressed almost all in black, apart from the white soles of his black comfortable shoes, in the football coach style du jour. And then the ball goes back into centre field. He'll be asked questions, lots of questions, Andy, after the match, no doubt also by our own Gary Flintoff. You'll hear that during 6:06 about how the Eza deal was put together. It's Calafiori centrally, just lifts a pass. This is for Gyökeres to run onto into the full-back position. And Gyökeres now weaving a run into the area, shoots and scores! It's there! It's 3-0 Arsenal! And that's the goal that Victor Gyökeres wanted! He scored on his first Premier League appearance for Arsenal here at the Emirates Stadium. Goal on his home debut. It opened up for him inside the penalty area. However, the Swedish international still had an awful lot to do. But there it is. He did it. And it is now off the mark, Victor Gyökeres, his first competitive goal for Arsenal, who lead Leeds 3-0.
Well, it's a really good goal. He's got the ball out on the left wing. He's made a really good run out there into that space. Jayden Bogle had been pulled out of position. He's got that ball. He's turned. He's ran into the box. He shifted there. The defenders couldn't really tackle him. They couldn't really get close enough to him because he kept manipulating the ball in on that right foot, and he pulls it in at the near post. Really good goal from an Arsenal perspective. Maybe question some of the defenders. Are they putting their body on the line? And it's game over now.
Yeah. It did. The weaving run took him into the full-back position initially, but then into the box. He beat Bogle and beat Strauch. And then, as I say, it almost opened up for him, and he was able to hit a shot down into the bottom left corner. There were defenders in the way. Goalkeeper Perry nowhere near it, into the net.
I really like the movement in the force phase of it, where he's seen that the space is free. He's seen Jayden Bogle's been pulled in, and he's been pulled in by Madueke. He's seen the space, he's bent his run, stayed on side really, really well, and then he faces him up. And then what you say to your forward players, be positive, make something happen, be aggressive with your run, be aggressive with your play. He's definitely that, and then it's a good finish to go with it. It's a big, big relief for him. No matter what anybody says, when you sign for a new club as a number 9, to get your first goal is really, really important, and he's done that here in front of these Arsenal fans.
Yeah, we can see we're looking down on him, aren't we now? He's just over 6 foot tall, fair-haired, and it looked to me as though he was breathing a big sigh of relief for finally getting off the mark as Saliba puts in a tackle, got there ahead of Stack, and therefore Arsenal coming forward with Saka, and Saka running at the Leeds defence, gives it to Calafiori, back onto his right foot, hits the shot, but that was blocked away at source by Rodon, and Leeds, all in blue, are able to run it away towards the halfway line. But I think probably now 3-0 down, this is an operation in damage limitation for Leeds United.
Well, Leeds need to be very careful here not to turn this into a basketball game where it just goes from end to end, because if they do that and they leave themselves exposed, they will concede more goals, and it could end up being a terrible, terrible evening for them.
And now, having already lost Odegaard, Bukayo Saka has sat down on the pitch, and there is obvious concern here. 2 of Arsenal's first choice players. First, Odegaard has had to leave the field. We'll find out how serious this arm injury is that he has. It didn't look too bad, but Bukayo Saka is shaking his head, and this is a worry. And I was there at Crystal Palace at Selhurst Park last season when he picked up a hamstring injury that meant months out of the game.
You always worry when a player like Saka, who moves so well and moves so quickly, when he overextends and he's burst forward there. He's probably made a 40-50 yard run with the ball. He was holding off players, maybe wasn't in control of his body as he would have liked, and he ends up with that injury, and he doesn't look comfortable, he doesn't look happy at all. And with the scoreline the way it is, Arsenal won't be taking any chances here. He'll be coming straight off.
They will not, indeed. Well, Saka now gets to his feet. We've already seen him shaking his head, and he is able to walk off the pitch, so he doesn't need the stretcher, which from memory I think he did at Crystal Palace. And Leandro Trossard is going to come on to replace him. I know that there's been a bit of talk that Trossard, the Belgian international, might be heading elsewhere, but actually our BBC colleague Alex Howell was reporting this week that Trossard has agreed a new contract. So again, that underlines what Mikel Arteta feels that he needs in terms of the size of his squad with all of the challenges that Arsenal had. But what he did not want was an injury to Bukayo Saka in the first home Premier League match of the season, and that's what's happened.
Yeah, it's a real shame for Saka, because he looks like he's enjoyed this evening. He's been on the ball, he's scored a goal, he's created chances, he's been running at players, he's been doing all the things that he really, really enjoys doing. So it's a real shame for him. You mentioned Trossard there, and we've been talking about Martinelli, and we've been talking about Eze, and we've been talking about all these forward players, and I think we failed to mention Trossard. And this is a guy who was so creative. He scores goals, he sets goals up, he's got a tremendous work rate, and is a real asset to this Arsenal team.
Yes, you're right, Andy. Guilty as charged. So Martinelli is still sitting on the bench. And actually, we spoke, didn't we, in the first half about how Madueke would be able to play on the right-hand side if they wanted to give Saka a rest, or if he wasn't available. That is exactly what's happened. So Madueke has switched across to the Saka role, and Trossard And that, I think, is interesting in itself, that it is Trossard who's been brought on the left rather than Martinelli.
It is that modern thing, though, where these wingers, they like playing on the opposite side, don't they? I actually think Madueke has done well on the left. I think he's looked the threat going on the outside. I think he's run at Bogle. I think he's given him a really, really tough evening. So, I wouldn't have been too disappointed from an Arsenal perspective to see him stay there.
That's Andy Reid with us on 5 Live. Played in the Premier League for 4 different clubs. Andy, I was testing our producer Gary earlier to see if he could name those 4 clubs.
Did he get the Blackpool one?
He got the Blackpool one. He did. Yes, he did. The one that he struggled to get was Charlton.
Oh, how'd you miss that one out? That's a brilliant club.
Timber forward to Waneri. Now Madueke on the right, left-footed cross, that's headed away by Strout. Comes back to Madueke inside the penalty area. Arsenal looking for another one here. Madueke drags it back, then goes for the byline, holds up the challenge, crosses straight into Strout, and it bounces down rather fortunately for Leeds, who are able to clear it away. Excellent play from Madueke. That's what we've seen him do on a regular basis for Chelsea. Now Arsenal come forward again. Waneri shoots on the edge of the area, on the twist, hit it, was deflected it wide, and behind for a goal kick. Gary, in his defence, says that he didn't think you were old enough to have played for Charlton in the Premier League.
I'll take that as a compliment.
Corner. Excellent play from Madueke there.
Yeah, when he's in full flow and he looks like he's really confident. I love seeing wingers who really want to go at the defenders, who really want to take on that 1v1 duel, and he certainly wanted to do that today. And Leeds are going to have to kind of really up it a little bit here, because they're really struggling at the moment. They're getting penned in. Arsenal really confident. The crowd are starting to get back up again.
And it's a corner, so watch out, Leeds. Arsenal scored from their previous corner in the first half. Rice to take this from, again, the left side. Raises his left arm, delivers it into the 6-yard box. It's headed down, rattling around. Calafiori with a shot. It's poked in. It's another one. It's a 4th goal. It's Timber again, who's got his toe to it in the 6-yard box. It rattled around. They didn't deal with it, Leeds United. And Timber was able to get a touch and force it over the line. He scored 2. Arsenal have scored 4. Arsenal 4, Leeds United 0.
Well, it's that delivery again. It's a slow delivery, so even if a defender does win it, he can't get any distance on it. Scramble in and around the box. There's a couple of deflections, and it falls really nicely to Timber, who flicks his right foot and flicks it into the middle of the net. And poor defending, you have to say again. But Arsenal, it's they've just got a hold on these set pieces. When they get them, teams are really, really starting to struggle, and it's a mentality thing by the looks of it.
Yeah, it was, Timber got the initial header, it bounced up and wasn't dealt with by Stroud. Calafiori had a kick, and then falling backwards, Timber outstretched right foot, got the crucial contact that forced it over the line. I suspect VAR might be having a look at a potential handball in there. It struck up her bodies, whether arms were involved or not.
Yeah, there was a little bit of a kind of coming together there, wasn't there? I mean, I don't think there's too much in it. I think we'll see that the goal is going to be given, but it does need to be checked most definitely. Timber reacted really, really well and really, really quickly.
Yeah, goal is given, and it was it was, as I say, there were bodies together. The ball was bouncing around, hitting bodies. It was a scruffy goal. And Leeds are going to make a couple of changes after that. So Pirot is off. As I say, he's not really featured in the match. And Longstaff and Metcher are coming on. So Tanaka also makes way from the midfield. So Sean Longstaff is on as he was on Monday night. There was a suggestion that he might have started with Ampadu being injured, but Daniel Farker instead went with Gruev in the midfield, and Lucas Metcher, who scored from the penalty spot at Elland Road on Monday.
I have to say I was surprised to see Longstaff not in the starting 11 as well. I think he's somebody that brings a real good tenacity. I think he's a good footballer. He's played at a really, really good level, so I was surprised to see him not in that starting 11. And I'm just we've spent a lot of time talking about Arsenal, rightly so. There's been some excellent play, there's been some good goals from a Leeds perspective, and I think there has to be a degree of realism here that it's not going to be nights like this at the Emirates that's going to decide whether they stay in the Premier League or not. These are difficult places to come. You sometimes have to suffer when you come to these places.
So Daniel Farke makes the double change after Arsenal have scored another goal from a corner. So Andy, what is that now? That is now 33 goals from corners since the start of the 2023-24 season. And we got a bit of information from one of our BBC colleagues, one of our statisticians, Jordan Butler, at half-time, who was pointing out that generally teams score from 3 or 4% of the corners that they have. Arsenal last season had a 40% rate of scoring from corners.
It's absolutely incredible. When the goal went in, there's a couple of Arsenal analysts sat next to us, and I kind of just had a little look at what their reaction was, and there was almost a little bit of a kind of a chuckle, a little bit of an embarrassed kind of, oh, we just got another one. It's incredible. The setup's really, really good. It's really difficult to defend against. The defenders can't see the attackers and the ball at the same time, so they're constantly shifting the body shape. The timing and the delivery is really, really good. So we end up getting goals, but it's that desire to get your head on the ball, or that desire to compete when the ball comes in.
Arsenal 4, Leeds United 0. Be lots of it. Happy Arsenal fans on 606 tonight on 5 Live with Natalie Pike this evening and Chris Sutton. The Saturday night rotation, not just in Match of the Day, but in 606 as well. So Natalie with Chris this evening. It'll be Robbie Savage and Chris Sutton tomorrow night. That's the new way of things this season. Robbie and Chris on a Sunday. Tonight, Natalie and Chris. 08085 909 693. Hashtag BBC 606 to get in touch with them. Text 85058 at your standard message rate. And here is Waneri for Arsenal. And what a day it's been. Eberici Eza, the confirmation of his signing before the match, and then 4 goals. As I say, 2 more from corners. The only fly in the ointment are those injuries to Odegaard and Saka, with important games to come. Rice out to the right-hand side to Madueke. Nice change of feet. The cross. An overhead kick goalwards, that is blocked by Trossard, comes back to Calafiori, who rather snatched at that. There were 3 Leeds players in the way and it flies away wide of the goal, high as well, into the Arsenal fans behind in the North Bank stand. Still half an hour to play, Andy.
Yeah, if you're a Leeds player, you can see that the big scoreboard in each corner of the ground, and you're looking up, you see the scoreline and you see what's left, and it's not something you're looking forward to. It's that last half an hour. You mentioned Eze there. He must be watching this and licking his lips, thinking, coming into this team, thinking how dominant they are in possession, how free flowing they are at times, how positive they are as a team. He'll be relishing the opportunity to come in and to get involved and to put his stamp on it.
4-0 Arsenal lead, and Mikel Arteta is going to make another triple change. So there's going to be a debut for Christian Mosquera, the recently signed Spanish under-23 international from Valencia. Miles Lewis-Skelly is going to come on as well, but the buzz that you can hear, I'll tell you why. Trossard playing it into the area. Gyökeres chests it off. Calafiori tries to get there. Leeds can't scrape it away. Madueke trying to turn in a tight area on the edge of the box, but Leeds have won it back and it's played up, and Mikel Arteta says, come on. He's out quickly clapping his hands. He's saying to Leeds what he wants now is the clean sheet as well. Yet to concede a goal this season. Daniel James brings it forward, gives it to Bogle. Bogle's into the area, but his cross is blocked by Gabriel, and Declan Rice will take it away. The reason, Andy, for that buzz, as you know, because you can see the same as me, we are going to see 15-year-old Max Dowman coming on to make his Arsenal debut here.
I always love seeing a young player making his debut. It's something that they remember for the rest of their lives. It's something that's so special for them. What a day for him and his family.
So I think Dowman will be the last of the 3 to come on, or indeed is he going to be the first? Let's see where the board comes with. It's Madueke coming off, and listen to this, number 56, Max Dowman. So this 15-year-old today, Max Dowman is 15 years and 235 days old. And he's making his debut in a competitive match for Arsenal Football Club. They say that his future is going to be very, very bright. And here at the Emirates on the 23rd of August 2025, we've seen the start of it, Andy.
Yeah, and people see his debut here today, and all these people are going to be here for it. But what they don't see is the journey that these young players go on, and they don't see the journey that the families go on, how they have to take them to training 3-4 days a week, travel all over the country for games as really, really young players, all the support that they have to give to them. And this is the culmination of all that journey coming together.
And you can hear the buzz, can't you? I think maybe Arsenal fans came here talking about Eza. When the team news came out, obviously they saw Dowman's name on the substitutes bench. And all Arsenal fans know very well, because there's been such a buzz, so much talk about their new number 56. And here they can say that they were here when he came on to make his debut with, 25 minutes or so to play. This 15-year-old, born in Chelmsford, he's already an England youth international at under 17 level, did come in to train with the first team in December. He did play for them pre-season in their friendlies. Actually couldn't play in the Premier League last season because he was ineligible, he was too young. But now, as you'll know, Andy, as a youth team coach at Forest, as part of the academy there, because he is now playing for the under-16 academy team, that makes him eligible to play for the first team.
He won't be playing for the under-16 team ever again. That's for sure.
Leeds are going to make another couple of changes. Incidentally, Calafiori and Timber were the other two Arsenal players to come off when Mikel Arteta made his changes. And the Leeds changes, we are seeing for Leeds, Noah Okafor is on for his debut. So a debut for Leeds United as well. This attacking midfielder forward that he is, can play in the wide areas as Leeds win a free kick for Gyökeres's challenge down in the right back area on Joe Rodon. So a free kick to Leeds United. So Okafor is on, and he is playing in the left-sided position, so he's replaced Gnonto, and Brendan Aronson has come on for Daniel James as well.
I don't think Leeds have been able, with the players that they've had on in the first kind of 65 minutes, have been able to trouble Arsenal enough, and they just haven't had that quality in the forward areas today to be able to hurt them, and be interesting to see what they bring.
Leeds have lost it actually after Pirro's clearance, and here is Max Dowman into the action for the first time. As you'd expect of a 15-year-old, he is slightly built, and he's got a mop of brown curly hair. He's gone for the long-sleeved Arsenal shirt. Actually, it's a short-sleeved shirt, and he's got one of those long-sleeved white undershirts on underneath that. He's got his red socks pulled up so high and his shorts down that you can't see an inch of the flesh of his legs. And he's taken up a position over there on the right-hand side, coming forward in the Saka position.
It seems to be this common trend of young players playing with the shorts, kind of just pulled down a little bit. And if I'm being totally honest with you, John, it gets on my nerves. I'm a little bit old school like that. You pull your shorts up. I say it to my 13-year-old lad all the time.
But Max Dowman won't be worrying too much about that kind of thing now that he's an Arsenal first teamer. They're winning 4-0, and incidentally, the youngest Premier League goal scorer was 16 years old. James Vaughan was the youngest scorer in the Premier League years when he scored for Everton against Crystal Palace. Other 16-year-old scorers in the Premier League, Andy: James Milner, Wayne Rooney, and here is Dowman now chasing this ball, but Gudmundsson gets there, the Leeds United left back, and is able to turn it away up the line, keeps it in play. It bounces off Okafor, who, as I was saying, played for Napoli in the second half of last season, but only 4 appearances for them, so not a lot of football from him. On loan from Milan, he's been signed from Milan, part of the Napoli team under Conte that won the title in Italy last season. But 4-0 it is. Lines open for 606 08 085 909 693 85058 is the text number to book your call. And more Premier League commentaries tomorrow when 5 Live Sport will come live from Everton's new stadium from 12 o'clock. Steve Crossman is going to be there. We'll have commentary on Everton Brighton. Sports Extra will have commentary on Crystal Palace against Nottingham Forest, which has got a lot to say. There's certainly no shortage of things to talk about there. And the atmosphere will be very interesting. So those 2 matches, 2 o'clock kickoffs. And then join us as well. Clinton Morrison is going to be with me down at Craven Cottage for Fulham against Manchester United tomorrow. But 4-0 here, and this represents a very good start to the season now for Arsenal. And Leeds really, obviously, determined not to make this any worse. Leeds in the almost all blue kit with the white trim, lose the ball, concede a throw in. Arsenal with a throw halfway inside their own half.
Yeah, I think one thing that's kind of pretty clear. I know they got a good win against Everton in the opening day of the season, but it's going to be a tough season for Leeds. There's no doubt about that. I think some of the teams that are coming up against will be able to hurt them. They will give away chances, and in the Premier League you get punished. And up the top end of the pitch, we have a look at the subs and the players that they brought in. Can they bring a little bit more creativity? And that remains to be seen.
Arsenal 4-0 up, 2 goals from corners. So those statistics, Andy, have been updated. So Arsenal are now scoring this season at a 40% rate from their corners. So that's scored from... I think they scored from 3 corners now, haven't they? 3 out of 6. So I think that's... my maths would tell you that that's 50%.
Your maths is better than your doctor skills.
Well, give me where they said the GCSEs, the maths scores were down, weren't they, this year? I'll have one for that. That's definitely 50% in my book. So 50%, and apparently generally this season the figure is that teams score from 6% of their corners. I hope you're following all of this. Arsenal with the ball at the back. And here is Trossard. Oh, nice from Trossard. Plays the ball to Waneri. Let's not forget he's on the field with all of the talk about Dauman. And the 18-year-old runs down a blind alley and is dispossessed by Stack. And that is just it, isn't it? With Waneri and Dauman on the field together.
Yeah, it was lovely play from Trossard there. His movement from out to in. He went from the wide position on the left into that number 10 position. It was a lovely ball from Gabriel into his feet. He took it so well and then reversed the pass into Waneri. Really, really good play from Trossard, and probably him with his little reminder to Mikel Arteta saying, I'm still here and I still want to be part of it.
4-0 Arsenal lead. I suspect that little piece of mathematics might well appear on the Commentator's View podcast at the end of this coming week. We'd love your emails, tcv@bbc.co.uk. Search Football Daily on the BBC Sounds app to find it. The new Wayne Rooney show is on there as well. And also every Saturday, the football interview, which today is Mark Gay. So Crystal Palace's Mark Gay. And after losing Eza, now the question for Crystal Palace, and Oliver Glasner will face those questions tomorrow, is whether Mark Gay is actually going to stay with them. But of course he's out of contract, isn't he, Mark Gay, at the end of this coming season?
Yeah, they have to make a decision on whether they want to keep hold of him for the season, lose him for free, or whether they want to cash in and take what would be, I suppose, good money. One thing's for sure, he's a top player.
So 4-0 Arsenal. 2 goals for Jurriën Timber, both from the corners. Bukayo Saka before he went off injured, and Gyökeres scoring his first goal for Arsenal. As Dauman now run into the Leeds United penalty area on the left-hand side, but Gudmundsson did well, dealt with him, the Swedish international. But that was a burst, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was. You could see the crowd as soon as he got on the ball down, and you could feel the anticipation in the crowd. You could feel people getting to the edge of the seats, and he was positive. He tried to take Gudmundsson on, and we have to say that was really good defending there.
So with Dauman coming on, they now have 2 players, don't they, out there who weren't born the last time that Arsenal won the Premier League title back in 2004. As up goes Mecha with the header, but it bounces down for Gabriel who's able to turn and give it back to Raya. For all of the exciting talent coming forward, I don't know about you, Andy, it feels that this Arsenal defence is going to be all important if they're going to challenge for the title.
Yeah, but they're strong, and I love the physicality. What I like about particularly the two Arsenal centre-backs is that they like the duels. They actually enjoy that physical battle, and I like seeing that in your centre-backs. They're not afraid to go and head it, they're not afraid to go and challenge, and they're really, really aggressive with their position. They trust their own pace, so they can play a high line because they believe they can match anybody who runs in behind. It's exciting times for Arsenal, you must say. You can see why these fans have been so excited.
Trossard, a little nutmeg on Brendan Aronson, and then he swings a high pass out to the right. Dowman in space, takes it down onto his left foot, cuts inside, left foot shot, flies away high over the angle of post and bar into the lower tier of the North Bank stand, and he swings his arms and he throws them in the air in frustration that wasn't able to find the top left corner.
Yeah, well, his eyes lit up there, didn't they? It was, again, wonderful play from Trossard. He's pinged a brilliant 50-60 yard ball straight to Dowman's feet, and again you see the young lad, he's been really positive. He gets at Goodmanson, he cuts inside, a couple of jinks, and just didn't get the right connection.
As Leeds play it downfield, and then stretch centre field. It's taken down for Leeds by Sean Longstaff, and then out to the left hand side, and in comes the challenge. It's Dowman tackling back this time to put it out of play for a throw-in to Leeds United. I think this will be described as a cameo, won't it? A cameo appearance by Dowman.
Everything he does is being cheered by the crowd, whether he makes a tackle, whether he takes a touch. They're really showing him some support.
Then Dowman puts in a challenge on the far side, but that's out of play for a throw-in to Leeds United. Yes, he was born, Dowman, in 2009.
Oh, stop, John. Stop it now.
What else was happening in 2009? I'm trying to think of things that happened in 2009. Arsenal 4-0 up here. Chris Sutton and Natalie Pike, I'm sure, will be fielding calls about Max Dowman. So 08085 909 693. Read all about the day's football action up and down the country on the BBC Sport website, football pages. Our colleague Alex Howell is here writing about Arsenal. We'll have plenty to write about today, won't he? There's one thing and another. Match of the Day highlights are on tonight. Kelly Cates presents Match of the Day on a Saturday night, anytime on the iPlayer, and also this season brand new, if you haven't heard, all of the Premier League highlights available via the BBC Sport website from around about 8 o'clock, so look out for that. And Leeds attacking rather vainly. Raya is able to pass the ball out to Lewis Skelly, and then Miles Lewis Skelly beats Brendan Aronson, and then Trossard is dispossessed by Aronson. Here's Bogle bringing it forward for Leeds United. Bogle running from right to left, cross field. Stack to Sean Longstaff, signed from Newcastle this summer. Stack infield again, Aronson into the penalty area. Bogle, this is nice from Leeds, but it comes to nothing as Miles Lewis Skelly is able to put in the tackle on the Leeds United right back, and Arsenal have it back inside their own half. Around about 12 minutes to play plus added time. Strouk heads it forward for Leeds, but it bounces over the top of Mecha and back to Raya. So yes, more Premier League commentaries tomorrow, as I mentioned. Everton, Brighton, Crystal Palace, Nottingham Forest on 5 Live and Sports Extra. Fulham, Manchester United, 5 Live. And then live sport Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday night. Sheffield Wednesday, Leeds. That's the next match for Leeds United, when one would assume for the Carabao Cup that Daniel Farke would make lots of changes, and as you'll be aware, all of the issues that Sheffield Wednesday are facing. But Hillsborough should be a good noise there. Tuesday night, Wednesday night, Grimsby Town against Manchester United, and then live athletics on Thursday night from Zurich. So that is for you Tuesday, Wednesday and Thursday night. Arsenal with the ball halfway inside their own half. Saliba and Gabriel were both named in the PFA Premier League Team of the Season this week. Declan Rice as well. Here's Trossard again on the left flank. Bogle backpedaling. Trossard takes him on, but Bogle then gets tight. He's being helped out by Sean Longstaff, who leans into the Belgian international, and actually he ends up losing possession, and Bogle is able to carry it forward. Jayden Bogle, but then Brendan Aronson can't keep it under pressure. Arsenal have got it back. Still only 4-0. And Arsenal still clearly interested in adding to their total.
So dominant, Arsenal, physically, technically, possession-wise, everything. Just so dominant in this game.
Dowman taking on Goodmanson round the outside, almost beats him. And Goodmanson feels that he got a touch on the ball there, but he brought Dowman down, and it's a free kick. And actually a yellow card for Goodmanson as well for the challenge, or possibly the way that he reacted to it.
Yeah, I think it was probably the reaction. You know, he really feels that he got a touch on that ball and that it wasn't a free kick. He's remonstrated a little bit too. I'd say he was probably a bit too animated.
Yeah, so it's a free kick, and as the captain, Pascal Strout goes across there to stake his claim.
He did get something on it, but he had hold of Dowman as well.
Yeah, and I think the yellow card was for the reaction. He flopped forward onto the pitch, slapped the pitch, put his arms up in the air as he was sitting on his knees. So that was the resulted in the yellow card. So it is a free kick for Arsenal. It's actually a little bit like a corner. So they are setting up for this. Nicolas Jauvert is taking charge of operations. Mikel Arteta has gone to sit down. So it is a corner that will be delivered by Nwaneri from out there on the right-hand side. Arsenal have players lined up on the edge of the box. They're an option. More likely it'll be swung in, which it is by Nwaneri. Headed away well by Strout. Comes out for the shot that is hit by Dowman. And again, hands on his face as the ball flashes past all of the various players in blue and red inside the box, but wide of the left post as well.
I couldn't see that it hit the post. I'm not too sure if it hit it. I mean, he struck it really, really well. It's a good delivery. It gets headed out by the Leeds defence, and Dowman comes onto it. No, it wasn't. It was a bit further away, but he struck it quite nicely. Really, really good technique. Body shape good, the striker. Just cuts across it a little bit too much.
Yeah, I'm not ruling out him getting on the score sheet the way that things are going. He's already had a couple of goes, shots wide of the goal. As I mentioned, if he were to score, he'd be the first 15-year-old to score in the Premier League. There have been other 15-year-old players as well. I mentioned Nwaneri was younger than Dowman is now when he made his Premier League debut. The only other 15-year-old to play in the Premier League, so over the course of the last 30 plus years, is Leicester's Jeremy Monga actually, who's making his way with them this season back in the Championship. Here's Trossard curling it forward. It hits Bogle. They wanted a free kick. I don't think Bogle knew much about that. No free kick given, quite rightly, and it's played away up towards Metcher on the halfway line, who was challenged by Gabriel. Leeds going to make another change, and I see that it is Sam Byram who is going to come on for Leeds United. So 4-0 it is, and spirits will be high. Arsenal supporters, I suspect Chris Sutton on 606 will be tempting them into all sorts of predictions for what might be possible this season. Still very early days, but certainly a promising start as Gabriel is felled by Aronson. But as I said, Andy, you know, a really tough run of matches to come for them. They've got to go to Liverpool next Sunday. You'll hear that with us on 5 Live. Manchester City is not too far away. Manchester City coming here. They've got Nottingham Forest to play here. Newcastle away, first Champions League match as well, as Bogle comes off to be replaced by Sam Byram for Leeds United. And of course, we'll have to find out the state of play with Odegaard as the ball is curled into the penalty area for a stretch by Metcher for Leeds United, but throwing a right foot at it, can't get a touch, it's through for a goal kick. So yes, no Odegaard potentially, no Saka potentially, but there again, with Eze having been recruited, the size of the squad.
I think when when Saka was injured last season, I think it had a real impact. In that period, they struggled with the creativity.
Yep.
I think
Havertz as well when he was out.
Yeah, and I think it really did. So I think what you'll find now this season is when they do have these periods, and they wouldn't have wanted it to happen tonight, obviously, but they've picked up these injuries, they'll have to deal with them, but now they will feel that they've got a squad that is capable of dealing with them situations and still picking up them points as they move forward.
Well, that is just it, isn't it? We're Saka, Odegaard, Havertz is out, Ben White is currently out as well. Yet right now, with £250 million or thereabouts spent this summer, they've still got a very strong team out there on the pitch now. Important day for Gyökeres as well, after the incredible 54 goals that he scored in all competitions for Sporting last season. To get off the mark, that is important for them today as well. Long pass hit forward by Gabriel. This is for Dowman to chase, but Goodmanson got his head to that. Out of play for a throw to Arsenal, level with the edge of the box. Just over 5 minutes to play, and Arsenal want number 5. They want to round this off with another goal, these supporters. All of those who were absent, most of those have retaken their seats, although I think some have actually left early. All sorts going on in London this weekend, and indeed all around the country on this bank holiday weekend, whether it's the festivals, the Notting Hill Carnival this weekend, Andy, as well. Coldplay have started their run at Wembley. You'll be going to that likely, are you?
Oh,
no?
I wish.
Yeah, I thought you might have had connections.
Yeah.
Felt that Ali Bruce Ball's going.
Is he?
Yeah,
I can see that. I bet he's got a box as well, hasn't he?
Well, I'm not sure about that. I'm not sure he moves in those circles. But cricket at Lords as well, the 100. That's on Sports Extra, BBC Television. So I'm perhaps not surprised that people might have left early. But if I was an Arsenal fan, and there was the potential to see Dowman score on his first appearance, which there is, I would not be going anywhere. Here's Lewis Skelly, back to Gabriel, then back to Raya. Arsenal passing it out from the back. Arsenal supporters. Yes, we didn't see Max Dowman score his first goal, but I'll tell you what, we beat the traffic that day. 4-0 it is. 2 goals for Timber, 1 for Saka, 1 for Gyökeres. And Zubimendi under pressure does find Lewis Skelly. Excellent play from the other teenager as well. Let's not forget about his age. And he gives it to Trossard, who actually nearly lost it, kept it in, then actually concedes a throw-in with a slightly comical piece of play. So 4-0 Arsenal lead. What about Leeds United then? I mentioned the fact they've got Sheffield Wednesday in the Carabao Cup, Newcastle at home, Fulham away, Wolves away. The target for them very obvious this season.
Yeah, look, stay up. If they stay up by 1 goal at the end of the season, then they'll be made up with that. It's an opportunity to build. It's not easy to get promoted and stay up.
Trossard curling it in towards the back post, and Dowman arriving on it. Actually, I think possibly stood on the ball as it came down. He was looking to direct it back into play, but stumbled and fell behind the goal line, and a goal kick for Leeds United. Alan Road, of course, is going to be so important for them this season, as has been widely remarked. As Stack brings it forward now, this tall German midfielder, but then it comes to absolutely nothing, and Arsenal have it back on the edge of the box. Fascinating fact, however, Andy, last 2 seasons when Leeds United have stayed up in the Premier League, they've actually won more Premier League matches away from home than they have at Elland Road.
It is interesting that, because there is a bit of pressure playing at home, especially at a ground like Elland Road.
What a run this is from Rice. Oh, it almost opens up for him. He gives it to Dowman. Dowman in the box, then back to Waneri on the edge of the area, and Stack is able to get the tackle in. Declan Rice with one of those runs, which are becoming a real trademark of his, aren't they? From the halfway line, running all the way into the penalty area.
He's got such a big stride. When he does open them legs, he really covers the ground very, very quickly. He's done great there. Burst into the box, and he slipped the ball out to Dowman. And I think the fans down in that corner over there, their eyes lit up as well. They wanted Dowman to step onto it and curl it into that far corner, and the Leeds defenders just got back in time.
4-0. 2 minutes to play. Join Natalie Pike and Chris Sutton on 606 08 085 909 693 to book your call. They will be on air, well, in the next 10 minutes at some point. We'll try and bring you the live interviews as well during 606 with Mikel Arteta and indeed Daniel Farke who's sitting down there with his hand on his chin. Looked like he was expecting rain today. He's got a light rain jacket on, hooded rain jacket. Free kick to Arsenal, middle of the Leeds half, that referee Gillett says he's not ready for Arsenal. They wanted to take a quick one, so they're going to reorganise themselves. Nicolas Jauvert again has come to the edge of the coaching area. Gabriel Aintzar, I can just see him as well. Andy down sitting on his Arsenal seat on the bench, the new recruit on the coaching staff this season, the former Manchester United man. So this latest Arsenal set piece, Nwaneri standing to the right of the ball, Rice to the left. It is actually Nwaneri who runs over it, and Rice who plays it in right-footed towards the dead ball line. It's headed across, but is collected by goalkeeper Perry, and it remains 4-0. So on the day that Arsenal have confirmed the signing of Eberechi Eze from Crystal Palace, I was reminded by our long-time colleague Gary Richardson about Clive Allen once making the move from Crystal Palace to Arsenal, and remember, he never actually played in a competitive match for them.
He was a brilliant finisher, Clive Allen, wasn't he?
Just super goal scorer, and we still see him quite regularly, don't we?
He was a coach at Tottenham when I signed for Tottenham. He was, yeah.
That's right. As is his cousin, isn't he, Bradley?
Yeah. He used to do some of the finishing sessions when we were there, and even long after he retired, he was still an incredible finisher.
He was ruthless. I mean, he was a brilliant finisher, Clive Allen. Look him up on YouTube, kids. 5 minutes of added time to play. 5 minutes, then we'll wrap things up. Then 08085 909 693. The US Open tennis begins tomorrow as well, and we will have commentary on Sports Extra tomorrow on Emma Raducanu's first match. So commentary on that match tomorrow around about 4 o'clock. Sports Extra the place for that, and coverage over the course of the next couple of weeks as the excellent live sport continues on 5 Live, Sports Extra, or indeed on your BBC Sport app. The still quite new Sports Extra 2 and Sports Extra 3. Have a look for them on your BBC Sounds app. Leeds step off Arsenal, who have possession inside their own half. Rice and Lewis Skelly taking up that position in midfield. Then back to Rice. Could be a great season ahead for those two, both for club and country. Lewis Skelly and Rice. Lewis Skelly very much a part of Thomas Tuchel's England, it would seem. He names his next squad on Friday. We will have news of that on 5 Live during the course of Friday. We'll hear from Thomas Tuchel again for the first time this season, who'll be out and about. I'm not sure if he's here today. I was amused to hear Ian Dennis at Brentford talking about Claudia Schiffer being there. Did you hear that?
I didn't hear that. I thought I was hearing things.
No, he said she was there wearing a Brentford shirt and sunglasses. Claudia Schiffer, surprise Brentford follower. Here's Longstaff, tackled nicely by Zubimendi. He's done well quietly today, Zubimendi, and he gives it to Nwaneri, and Nwaneri then over the halfway line, he passes it to Dowman into the area. Oh, he's challenged by Stack. It's a penalty. Dowman wins the penalty on his Arsenal debut. Stack says, I got the ball, but referee Gillett had a think and pointed to the spot.
Yeah, I think it's a penalty. I think it's really good play from Dowman. I think he's manipulated the ball really well. He stopped it, he's moved it again, he's moved his feet, shifted the ball, and Stack's left the leg hanging out there. You can't lunge in like that. He's just, has he? Has he stood on his foot?
Did he?
Has he stood on his foot?
We're watching it.
He stood on his toe, and it's the tiniest of touches as he's come in. It looks like he's tried to plant his feet, hasn't quite got near the ball, and he just treads on his toe.
So who's going to take the penalty for Arsenal? Because Odegaard's not on the pitch, Saka's not on the pitch. Declan Rice has got the ball, but I presume has he taken the captain's armband, Rice? And they're still in discussions because VAR are still looking at this. Craig Pawson has is the video assistant referee, so he's having a look at this, but I'm fairly confident that will be given as a penalty, will be confirmed as a penalty, particularly when the referee's called. And there did appear, I mean, there wasn't a great deal of contact. Yeah, he is pointing at the spot now. So is Declan Rice going to take it, or is he going to give the ball to Gyökeres? Yes, they like that. That's got the Emirates Stadium seal of approval that Gyökeres will have a chance from the penalty spot to score for the second time in this match. The second time for Arsenal in a competitive game. Gyökeres places it down, steps back, man of business. He's not hanging around, runs his fingers through his hair twice, then just makes sure he's got all the debris off the bottom of the soles of his boots. Referee Gillett, though, is going to make him wait, because he's now going around all of the players on the edge of the area in the D, telling them all exactly what they have to do, i.e. stay out of the box. So Gyökeres having to think about this. And so the Swedish international, Victor Gyökeres, signed this summer, £60-odd million, chance to score 2 on his home debut, right-footed, drives it in! Perry goes the wrong way, diving to his left, and Victor Gyökeres runs straight over to one of the television cameras there, puts his hands across his face, then also runs his fingers through his hair and celebrates scoring 2 goals on his Premier League home debut for Victor Gyökeres, a 5th for Arsenal, 5-0 against Leeds United.
Yeah, it's a brilliantly taken penalty. He comes up with his right foot, whips it across his body into that left-hand side of the goal, and this is just turning out to be a perfect day for Arsenal. 5 goals, none conceded. They've signed Eze. Gyökeres has got a couple of goals today, and these fans are absolutely ecstatic.
So 5-0 it is, and Gyökeres, as they say in the grand tradition of football commentaries, has begun to pay off that enormous transfer fee that they paid for him. 54 goals last season for Sporting. Wasn't able to get a shot on goal at Old Trafford last Sunday afternoon in the hour that he was on the pitch. Was quiet, but they did say that, you know, he didn't have a full pre-season training because he wasn't involved with Sporting, because he knew that the move to Arsenal was coming.
Yeah, well, look, it's a good performance today against a pretty poor Leeds team on the day. So there's still going to be tougher tasks to come for Gyökeres and for Arsenal. Yes,
they say that he set a new club record for the demand for an Arsenal shirt with his name and number on it, Gyökeres. So, well, so many positives as the final whistle goes here at the Emirates. What a start. What a start as Arsenal attempt finally to win the Premier League again for the first time since 2004. Winners at Old Trafford last Sunday, and handsome winners against Leeds United here. Andy Reid with 2 goals from Timber, so 2 more goals from corners. Bukayo Saka with 1, and Gyökeres with 2 on his home debut, the second of those a penalty. Just the slight cloud there of the injuries to Odegaard and Saka.
Yeah, it's the only real blot, I suppose, on the day. It's a really, really dominant performance from Arsenal. We spoke about in the commentary how physically they overpowered Leeds. Technically, Leeds couldn't really deal with them. And also, I think tactically, some of the positions, how there was interchanging. You look at the formation and how it's so fluid, people coming into pockets. You've always got width and height on that last line. And Leeds just weren't able to deal with it. They couldn't handle it. Arsenal scored some really, really good goals. And I think from a Leeds perspective, attacking-wise, Arsenal really, really dominated in their own defensive area. Anytime that ball came up, they were just they swarmed all over them Leeds attackers. They won the ball back, and then they broke forward again. So total domination here today. Leeds will have tougher. Leeds will have easier days than this. It's a tough place to come. We know that, but today is all about Arsenal.
Yeah, and a glimpse of the future as well with 18-year-olds Lewis Skelly and Nwaneri, who the Arsenal fans already know well, but the 15-year-old Dowman coming on. First glimpse of him in a competitive shirt for Arsenal.
Yeah, and I think he showed glimpses of why everybody's so excited about him. You know, we've seen him play underage levels for club and for country, and we know that he's a supremely talented lad. To put a player so young into an arena like this with so many people, it doesn't just speak for his ability. I think it also speaks for his mentality and how he's able to handle the occasion, and he looks a player to be mature well beyond his years. There's exciting times ahead for this young Arsenal team. They fit in seamlessly, they know the roles, they know the job when they come on, and I thought Waneri was very good when he came on as well. So you mentioned them three young players. Really, really good to see young players on the football pitch. It always makes me happy when I see young players coming onto a football pitch.
Very good. Andy Reid, thank you very much for your company this afternoon. So super start to the season now for Arsenal. 5-0 winners here today. 2 wins out of 2. Leeds going down to their first defeat since returning to the Premier League. So as I say, tomorrow more Premier League commentary at 2 o'clock. Everton-Brighton on 5 Live. Vicky Sparks and Pat Nevin, former Everton man, back at Everton for their first Premier League match in their new stadium. But at the same time, Crystal Palace against Nottingham Forest on Sports Extra. So that's a superb choice of listening in the Premier League. I'll be at Fulham Manchester United. 4:30 kickoff for that. Clinton Morrison with me for the commentary. As I mentioned, Emma Raducanu's first match at the US Open. That's on Sports Extra tomorrow after the Crystal Palace Forest match. All of the top sport will be reviewed in the morning. On Sunday breakfast, Jeanette Quatchy and Nick Bright will be on the air at 7, and Colin Murray at 10 o'clock, featuring at 10:30 the Great Football Songbook, which this week focuses on Aberdeen, the Northern Lights of old Aberdeen. So listen out for that in the morning. But that is it from us at the Emirates. Stay tuned for the live interviews with what I'm sure will be a very happy Mikel Arteta and Daniel Farke as well, and anyone else that we can get our hands on. But it is time to hand it over to 606 now with Chris Sutton and Natalie Pike.